I'm just trying to think of a song.
I thought you were a stroke then.
Just trying to think of a song. I can't think. Maybe we could use this as the intro. Them, the viewing several realising that every time you press record, I have to think of a song.
Yeah. I don't give him any warning.
No.
I don't know what song he's going to do, and half the time, nor does he.
It turns out that this time I haven't actually got a song.
Oh, well, we could just start.
You know what I have been singing a lot recently?
The blues.
Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Oh, Lancashire hot pots. You familiar with the Lancashire hot pots?
No.
Egg, sausage, chips and beans, chips and beans. I could eat it till I burst at the seams. Egg, sausage, chips and beans, chips and beans. Welcome to Is It?
My days get stranger and stranger.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I've sort of spent the last 2 days not being able to get that out of my head, and then you go, right, we're recording.
Mind blank.
Yeah, my head is completely empty. But yeah, the Lancashire hot pots, egg, sausage, chips and beans, worth going to have a listen to.
Never heard that before in my life.
No, well, you won't be able to forget it now, believe me.
Forgotten it already.
What?
Eggs, sausage, chips and beans? Yeah. Is that
Yeah,
it?
that's it. You see, when I first knew you,
Yeah.
that's a classic Sean meal.
Oh, yeah.
That's a classic Sean meal.
Try up.
Yeah, then one day you turn up and you're like, do you want some fricasseed veal? Yeah, your tastes changed significantly, didn't they?
I got older, a little bit more sophisticated on the
In
palate.
fact, when we used to record this at the old studio,
Yeah.
you'd cook lunch.
I would.
Yeah,
Well, now I take you to the pub instead.
yeah.
I mean, I can cook lunch.
No, let's go to the pub. They serve beer from the tap there as well.
They do. Right. Let's look at a plug-in, Dan.
Hold on.
I knew this was going to come up.
Whoa, sweet child of mine.
Oh, he's going to get the ump.
I thought the deal was,
Yeah.
if it makes a noise,
Yep.
I get to review it.
Normally.
However,
Yep.
I will accept
Yep.
that has a lot of controls on it. And I probably only know what the volume one does.
There you go. You've answered your own question. Today,
We'll look at the little big horn.
no, that's just a preset name.
Is it? I was going to say. Yes, that's what I get.
This is our very first review. Oh dear.
Okay, sorry, whoever.
It's fine. This is the very first review we've ever done of anything by Acustica. And Acustica got in touch and said, how would you like to review our new thing? And I'm like, yeah, we'll have a look at your thing. What thing you got? And it's The Thing, which is The Thing Suite, and it's two synths. So it's the TH8 and the TH5. Let's look at The Thing 8, known as the TH8.
I wonder what happened to 6 and 7.
That's a good question. I'll explain it all, hopefully. So, for those of you that know your synths, this is a Jupiter 8. And those people at Acustica do what they do and have basically used Convolution to create a Jupiter-style synth. And it uses something called...
Just explain to me and the view what that means using convolution. Yeah.
Convolution. So let's put it into something that you understand. So reverb.
Don't say that like I'm stupid. Okay. Just normal language will do, not like I'm stupid.
Okay. Reverbs. There are algorithmic reverbs and there are convolution reverbs.
Yes.
An algorithmic reverb is basically synthesizing from thin air using code reverb. A convolution reverb is where you put a noise print into it. You basically record a loud ping, and then you record that, put that into a reverb processor that uses convolution, and it listens to the sound and goes, right, we can now use that to make reverb. And
incidentally, you can do that on your Mac.
you can do it on your Mac. Yeah, Space Designer is designed exactly to do that. And you can also do that with plugins. Now, Acustica's plugins, all of them use convolution, which means, let's say they made a convolution version of 1176, they would have to put every control in every conceivable position and run a tone through it and sample it. So They, let's say they start with the attack on 0 and everything else set flat. Then, 1, everything else set flat. 2, everything else set flat. Then set that to 1 and that to 1. Then that. I mean, thousands of sampling situations to get all the information in.
So are these all samples? Is that what you're saying?
No, but it's been done through Convolution. So whether they've actually recorded a Jupiter 8, no, I don't think so. I think it's synthesis that has used the same technology. Somehow they have synthesized, they are taking their waveforms, the generators from real ones, and they've used Convolution to get those in here, and then it's using synthesis once it's got the waveforms
really
in
glad
there.
I asked.
There you go. Anyway, the system is called MUST Modular Unified Synthesis Technology, which is basically Convolution. Yeah. Anyway, as you can see, as I was saying, if you know your Roland synths, it's a Jupiter 8 basically. So you've got your regular, you've got your VCOs, you've got your modulator, you've got your VCF control, you've got VCA, you've got 2 envelopes, you've got a whole bunch of control down the bottom here for your VCF, you've got a whole bunch of sync and range settings for your VCOs. It is a very, very high spec synth. You can do all kinds of clever stuff with it. And that's before you get to this top section, which is kind of stuff they've added. So the super stereo is like a mad stereo processor. It's really quite impressive, does some weird things when it's set very high. It's got a sub setting, you can just whack a load of bottom end on things. It's got a saturator with different shapes, you can drive it more or less, add more or less to the mix. It's got a simple tone control, a very nice chorus control, a really nice reverb, and a really nice delay. It's amazing. All of that stuff you would normally use separate plugins, and you might like to use separate plugins to get the sounds you want in your tune, but if you get them on here, which is easy to do, it all saves as part of your preset, which is that's pretty cool. You can save some amazing presets.
Are they all Convolution?
I presume so. I don't honestly know. The presets, it's got to be said, are mind-blowing. It's I've got a bunch of different versions of the Jupiter 8. I've got the Arturia and I've got a couple of others. This thing has a very, very analog sound to it. It sounds very hardware-like. I don't know what else I can say really. 8 voice, so basically you can do two lots of 4 on both hands, and it will play and it will do note stealing once you go above that. And then we've got the TH5. Now the TH5 you would think would be maybe a 5 voice version of that. It's not. It's just a simpler to use version of that. So it's the same, I think, behind the scenes, but it's shrunk it down into an interface. It's still got the 2 VCOs. It's just put it into an easier to use interface. So I think that's what the TH5 is. I might be wrong. It was very hard to work it out, but from what I could tell, it's a simplified interface rather than a completely different synth.
I definitely think I should do the ones that make noise.
I definitely think you're right. Yeah.
So is 8 voice?
8 voice, yeah.
Is that it? There's none of this business then with
but it's
with an arpeggiator.
That was the point of the Jupiter 8. It's very faithful to the Jupiter 8. It was called that because it was the first 8. I think it was one of the first 8 voice synths, which in those days you had a monophonic synth, there was a few duophonic, and then when you could play 3 notes at once, it was like hail Jesus, and then this came out.
So what separates it from other sort of synths on the market? Is it a true replica that you would be using in just modern song composition?
Yeah. Do you know
or
what?
Does it have an application in that sort of drum and bassy, dubsteppy, housey, trappy?
I think it has over 500 presets, and it's got to be said, they're pretty stunning. There's a preset on there which sounds very much like the lead sound that they use in the Blade Runner thing. And I love that patch, and I love that. It was done on a Yamaha CS80 originally. And I've got loads of different versions of that patch on different synths, and I've used it a lot, and none of them play like you would imagine they should. It's just the way that it plays when you're playing it, when the note lets go and re-triggers the synth to start again, rather than just, if you play legato mode, you can carry on the attack, whereas if you play with a whole new note, you leave a gap, the attack starts again. This does exactly what you want it to do. It's very, very expressive to play it. It's yeah, I don't know how else to put it. But also the sound of it just sounded incredibly analog to me. I haven't heard a real analog synth on this scale for quite a few years. I've got a little one, but I did used to engineer an artist that used a Jupiter 8 on stage, and it is a fantastic sounding thing.
Who was that?
Howard Jones, very famous Jupiter 8 user. It has something called age control, which is quite interesting, where the more you turn up the age control, the more it acts like an old synth and will start to have imperfections. Tuning, little weird things just going out. Really cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Do you get a demo?
You do. 30-day demo.
30 days?
30 days, yeah.
So worth going just to download for that then?
I would sample the life out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30-day demo, which I think is pretty decent.
Nobody samples synths anymore.
No, they don't, do they?
No.
Which is weird.
You
because,
could spend a day doing that.
Yeah, but I used to sample synths because they sounded better when I played them from my sampler.
Yeah.
That 12-bit, Akai grit, I'd sample a Roland D50 into it,
about to say
and it sounded awesome.
Sample on a Akai, yeah.
Yeah, no, on the Akai days, you'd sample a synth into it because it sounded better. Weird. Yes, anyway, 30 days, full price, €229.
Mm-hmm.
It's on sale at the moment because it's new for €179. So it's quite pricey.
Yeah, it is pricey, isn't it? Especially when you think that you've got, if you're a member of Splice, you get, you get
get all
synths
sorts.
as part of your subscription.
You do. Yeah.
It's a mighty move putting out something like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I use the Arturia collection mostly.
Yeah.
And I find that stuff to be
Well, Rick would
amazing.
be a good gauge. Do you think this is something Rick could use?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100% it would be up his street. I know plenty of composers that will probably be very excited about this because it's for composing really. If you're inspired by new sounds, interesting presets and the ability to quickly mess with them, this is that kind of synth. It's in fact, here you go. Here's a measure of how much I enjoyed messing with it. I was halfway through testing a preset and I thought, that's a song. That sound, I'm going to do something with that. And I very quickly fired up a new
Amazing
Logic project, stuck a beat with it,
Okay.
saved it, and thought, well, I'm going to come back to that.
So I take it that was arpeggiator-y.
It was a bass. It was something that was looping a bass sound in a particularly cool way. Can't remember exactly what it was, but as soon as I heard it, I'm like, oof.
And what about the smaller version? The
TH5.
Yeah.
I think it's just an easier interface. I think it has the same stuff behind
cost.
it. It's a bundle. It comes together.
Oh right. Okay.
So you could run like
So you
one
get
of
two
these
synths then,
and two of those, three of those. Yeah. I mean, Acustica, sometimes people accuse them of running very CPU heavy stuff because quite often it is quite CPU heavy because of the convolution thing. This wasn't that bad at all, and I think if you're using like a couple of these and a bunch of the fives, that makes sense.
Okay, so
Excuse me.
the big question is it shit?
No, I don't think it's shit. I think the price is,
Yeah.
borderline. I think it could have been a bit cheaper, but I think for what you get, it sounds pretty phenomenal.
The plugins we review that make a noise generally aren't as cheap, are they?
No. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a different kind of thing at the end of the day, isn't it?
It's an instrument, yeah.
It's an instrument, yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Sean, for stealing my job. And you probably wanted this for your system, so you didn't give it to me.
No.
I'd imagine that's probably what's happened here. So before you go and get a 30-day demo, which is
it's pretty decent
demo, please like our video, subscribe to the channel.
Maybe become a channel member. We also have Studio Life 101 on Instagram.
We've got a top 5 of our favourite plugins, and the maestro himself has a series of courses which you should very definitely go and check out. So till then,
Adios.
sayonara, suckers.